Hello everyone and welcome back to another deck idea brought to you by Double Sleeved. As always, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe to support the channel. Today we're going to be going over the yellow Sun Goku deck coming out in Ultimate Squad, so let's jump into it. Starting off with the leader, it is just a standard yellow Saiyan leader, which means that we do have access to a lot of good yellow cards. It's 10k with an auto, add one card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, play up to 1 yellow unison with a specified cost of 1 among them, with a marker on it in rest mode, and then shuffle your deck. As you can see in front of you, our whole deck relies on unisons, so we're going to be playing and utilizing a lot of unisons within the deck. Awaken when your life is at 4 or less. You may draw 1 card, switch one of your energy to active mode, and then flip this card over. So we're going to need to take a life to be able to do that top 5 search and play the unison, which will turbo our self-awaken just to get down to that 4 life. It's good to see a draw 1, untap 1 yellow leader. I know in the past we've had a lot of draw 2 leaders, or even the draw 1 leader, referencing the trunks that we got in the previous set, Realm of the Gods. So it's nice to see a draw 1, untap 1. On our Awaken side, we've got SS Sun Goku Fearless Fighter, 15k, auto once per turn. When this card attacks, draw 1 card and then play up to 1 yellow unison with a specified cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it in rest mode. So we are able to draw on our Awaken side and still play the unison, which is good, but they're still going to be played in rest mode with the marker, with 1 marker, sorry. Activate main once per turn, that's 2 specified yellow energy. Place 8 yellow unisons from your drop area at the bottom of your deck in any order. Switch this card to active mode and it gets plus 10,000 power and double strike for the turn. We've seen this on the Trunks Vegeta leader that we got in Realm of the Gods as well, that being able to get that 10k and double strike just for, completing the cost. In this specific scenario, we need to pay 2 energy and put 8 yellow unisons at the bottom of the deck, which is a bit of a decent cost. Getting 8 unisons into the deck is not going to be that difficult for this deck, but paying the 2 energy to get the 10k and double strike when you can just pay 1 for a Champa. But it's handy to be able to attack with it, restand, and then give it the 10k and double strike. We've also got to activate battle once per turn. It's a Spirit Boost X effect, so if it's your opponent's turn, for each marker you remove using this skill, this card gets plus 5,000 power for the battle. So it can be handy if you're going in for game, or if your opponent's trying to close out a game with you, or you don't want to use cards from your hand and you've got a unison that you're just going to get rid of anyway, or it's got some extra markers that you don't need. You can do the Spirit Boost effect and get somewhere between 5 and 20, 30k, however many markers you can get onto the unison just for that battle. Moving into some of the battle cards, starting off we have SS Sun Gohan Inherited Will. It's a 15k barrier with an auto, limit 1 for 1 yellow energy. If your leader is a yellow Sun Goku card, when one of your yellow unison cards is placed in your drop area, play this card from your hand. With an activate battle once per turn, discard 1 yellow unison from your hand and choose up to 1 of your yellow leaders or unisons, and it gets plus 5,000 power for the battle. So pretty good offensively if we're attacking with the unison, but can be used offensively or defensively for our leader. I did expect to see a card like this within the deck, just because we're going to be running so many unisons. We do need a way to be able to cycle through them so they're just not dead in our hand, since we're not going to be able to combo with them. So if you're able to establish a couple of these, then it just means that any of the unisons that you do draw into, you still got some use for them, and you can do the activate battle to get the plus 5,000 power. Moving into some of the unisons, as you can see, they're all following a similar theme in which when they were fighting Cell. So the artwork on these are really cool. It's nice to see all the Z fighters together. We've got, starting off, SS Vegeta Z fighter. It's a 4k 1 specified cost unison with Empower Yellow 2. So if we're playing this over a unison that has 2 or more markers, then we're going to carry over 2 of those markers. Which is handy if we're just paying 1 energy for it, or if we're playing it off our leader's attack. If this card has 3 or more markers on it, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less in rest mode and KO it, and this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. An auto limit 1, when this card is placed in a drop area from your unison area, draw 1 card. With a +1 activate main, this card gets 6,000 power for the turn. So being able to utilize that Empower effect to KO an opponent's card in rest mode is, with an edge cost of 4 or less, I should say, is pretty handy. But also when this card is put in the drop area from the Unison area, we get to draw 1. So when we start playing Unisons over this card, then we're still going to be able to get some more draws as well, which is really good. Tian Shinhan Z Fighter, this is a 5k. Again, all of these 1-drop Unisons have Empower Yellow 2, so we're going to be able to play them for quite cheap and then carry over two markers I should say, from the previous one. This effect is if you have 3 or more markers on it when it's played, choose one of your opponent's Unison cards and switch to rest mode. So pretty good if our opponent has a blocker Unison like the 4-drop Boo, things like that. We're able to switch to rest mode and then continue to attack our opponent's lead. +1 activate main, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and it can't be switched to active mode until the end of their next turn. Really handy at stopping any kind of big battle card that our opponents play quite early. Just being able to lock cards down is what yellow is good at, a really good effect. And then a -3 activate main, choose up to one of your opponent's leader cards in rest mode and it can't attack until the end of their next turn. Again, just a really great Unison effect. I've played a lot of Sin Shenron, which does have a similar effect, and it can be quite frustrating for your opponent not being able to attack, losing out on a draw, losing out on an opportunity to self-awaken or play battle cards and things like that. So when it's needed, this card can be extremely good. Yamcha Z Fighter. Kind of looks like Yamcha's going Super Saiyan in this one. It's a 5k, again, Empower Yellow 2. If this card has 3 or more markers when it's played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and switch them to rest mode. With a +1 activate main, this card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn, becoming 15k. And a +0 activate main of draw 1 card. So depending on what you need, if you want to attack with this card or if you just want to draw the card, we've got the options there. But being able to switch 2 of our opponent's battle cards to rest mode is quite handy as well, since we're able to KO cards in rest mode a lot easier now than before with some of the other battle cards and things that we have. Or if our opponent has a large amount of blockers, then we're able to switch them to rest mode as well. And Piccolo Z Fighter, again 5k, Empower Yellow, auto limit 1 if this card has 3 or more markers on it. When this card is played, draw 1. So it can be quite handy if you've got the Vegeta out and you play the Piccolo over the Vegeta. You're able to draw from Vegeta leaving the Unison area and then draw from Piccolo coming in. And then we've got the +1 activate main. This card gets plus 10,000 power for the turn. So being able 15k that we're able to attack with. Couple of decent Unisons there within that bunch, but the main star of the show is definitely SS2 Son Gohan Z Fighter. Unlike the other ones, this is a 3-cost specified Unison. It's also a 20k with Empower Yellow 3, so we're able to carry over 3 markers from the previous Unison, and it has blocker as well. Although if this card has 4 or more markers when it is when this card is played, choose up to X of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, where X is equal to the number of yellow Unisons in your drop area and KO them. So like I said earlier, it's quite easily to cycle through Unisons with this deck. We're going to be playing them over one another to get the Empower 3 effect, and also cycle through them with our Gohan battle card. So if we're able to get 3-4 Unisons into the drop area, then we can quite easily wipe our opponent's board just by playing this Unison, because there's not too many decks within the game right now that are playing 5, 6, 7 battle cards that early on, so quite handy just to wipe our opponent's board. We've got a +1 activate main, draw 1 card, always good, and then the -3 activate main, we get to choose up to one of our leader cards. This card and the chosen card, so that the leader, get plus 5,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn, and this card gains triple attack for the turn. So an absolute powerhouse of an effect, being able to attack with our leader for a 20k and then attack 3 times with our Unison for 25k, and then our leader sits at 20k until the end of our opponent's next turn. So pretty much carrying over a bean effect means our opponent needs to combo to deal damage, things like that. Just an awesome Unison. Something that yellow was lacking was a good 3-drop Unison. We've got an excellent 4-cost Unison, some really good 2-drop Unisons, but this definitely takes a strong spot for a 3-cost Unison, the other being the Trunks that we had in the past. But moving into some of the battle cards that we have in the deck, yes, there are some battle cards. It's not just extra cards and Unisons, but we've got the new SR Negate coming out in Ultimate Squad. SS Son Goku Final Sacrifice. This is a 3-cost, 1 specified yellow counter attack with 15k. So we're able to negate the attack and play this card. With a permanent, if you have a yellow Unison in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. So this permanent is pretty much going to be live immediately and throughout the entire game unless our opponent removes our Unison. But we're able to play them out so easily that you should be able to get this out quite early and then have the 15k on the field. Auto Spirit Boost 1, place this card in the owner's drop area, so we've got an additional effect as well if you don't want to be playing the battle card onto the field. When this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Additionally, if the chosen card has an energy cost of 5 or less, KO it, then draw 1 card. Again, another extremely good negate that that yellow now has access to. Being able to negate an opponent's leader attack, things like that, and choose, a 5 cost or less is quite high as well. We see a lot of effects now hit 4 or less, but being able to hit 5 or less, switch to rest mode, which triggers things like our Poutine as well, and then draw the card. And if our opponent doesn't have any battle cards or anything on the field that we want to be KOing, then we can just go ahead and play this card out and get the 15k body. But again, yeah, an extremely good SR for yellow. Just more options that we're able to KO our opponent's battle cards. Like I said before, it's something that yellow lacked in the past, but is now making up for it with a lot of the cards that are coming out. One of the first cards that kind of kickstarted this being able to KO in yellow was definitely Turles All Too Easy. It's 20k double strike. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, and then we get to choose one. We can either draw a card or choose another battle card in rest mode and KO it. With an activate main for 2 yellow energy, if your leader is a mono yellow Saiyan card, which we definitely are, and you have 3 or more energy, play this card from your hand. Just a really good way to put pressure on our opponent. We've got Vegeta's Final Flash, an extremely good extra card. We can do it in an activate battle. If your leader is yellow, choose up to one of your leader cards or battle cards and it gets plus 15,000 power for the duration of the battle. And if all of your energy is yellow, when you activate this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier and negator skills for the turn. There's so many times where people go in with a double striker or a triple striker and things like that and forget about this card and then just get their effects popped mid-battle. So an extremely good yellow extra card that always finds its place in my deck. The one-off power of a Super Saiyan, the counter-attack, negate the attack, and with the permanent, if you have 1 or more yellow energy in active mode, you can activate this card's activate battle skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. The activate battle being, if your leader is mono yellow, draw 1 card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or unison cards, switch to rest mode, and you can't activate the activate battle skill on copies of this card for the turn, but it's only a one-of now anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. But still a really good card. It's a shame that it is at 1, but I can definitely see why. Taking those extra deck space is now the Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha. It's a 1-drop extra card. Activate battle as well. If your leader is yellow, choose up to one of your cards and it gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. Then choose one. If it's your turn, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. And if it's your opponent's turn, draw 1 card and then choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Again, just fits really well for yellow, being that control, being able to switch our opponent's battle cards to rest mode for 1 energy. Choosing 2 of them is extremely good, but then also getting the plus 10,000 power to get out of that attack and the draw 1. Just an absolute exceptional battle card, extra card. Son Goku Return of the Dragon Fist, a really good closer for yellow if you're utilizing the Unisons. It's a 25k deflect with double strike. Auto, when this card is played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. We've got an activate main for 3 yellow energy. If you have 4 or more energy and a yellow unison in play, play this card from your hand. We're going to be playing Unisons, as I've said before, quite easily, so we're going to have this effect pretty much live when we need it. And then the activate main once per turn Spirit Boost 2. If your leader card is mono yellow, this card gains dual attack for the turn, and your opponent can't activate skills on battle cards with an original energy cost of 7 or less from any area when this card is in battle. So we get a 25k double strike dual attack that shuts out our opponent's super combos and battle card effects and things like that. It's extremely good. If our opponent doesn't have the extra cards to deal with this card, then they're going to be using a lot of 5ks from hand, or not getting the value of their super combos just to get out of these attacks. An extremely good finisher for yellow whenever you've got that Unison available. Since we're playing the Unisons quite early as well, and they've all got +1 effects that we can utilize, we do run the free Canna Vegeta, Prideful Transformation. It's a 14k blocker with counterplay. You can't activate counterplay skills on other cards for the turn. The battle card being played is played in rest mode and then play this card. So similar to like a Crusher Ball effect, but with the 14k blocker as well. With the permanent, if you have a yellow Unison with 2 or more markers in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. We're pretty much going to have the 2 markers on our Unison turn 1. If our opponent decides to start swinging into our Unisons, we're not too fussed about that because it's just attacks that we're not absorbing off lead, so we're fine with that. If they want to try and remove markers off our 1-drops, we're just going to add markers next turn. We're just going to play another Unison next turn and empower anyway. But when we have the markers available, then we've got this card available as well. Standard super combo, Krillin moments before comeback. If your life's 4 or less and all your energy is yellow, this card gets plus 10,000 combo power. Bottom deck 1, draw 2, pretty standard. Swift Retaliation Cooler, the counter that all yellow decks should be running. It's 3-drop, 3 specified yellow, 15k counter. If your leader is yellow, negate the counter and play this card. When you play the card, draw 1, and if you have 6 or more cards in rest mode, you get to draw 1 more card. Another extremely good negate for yellow, Mecha Frieza Robotic Riposte. For those that don't know what this card does, negate the attack, play this card. It's 15k body. Permanent, if your leader is yellow and your opponent has 2 or more energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each yellow extra card in your energy area and drop area. We do run a significant amount of extra cards that we can charge and use quite easily to get into the drop area to get this the energy cost of this card down. When it's played from your hand, each time your opponent would attack with a non-Unison card, they must choose one of their cards in active mode and switch it to rest mode. So really good floodgate effect that can limit our opponents to the amount of our opponent's attacks. We've also got the activate main, but we don't run any yellow Frieza with Mecha in its name, so we don't have to worry about that one. Next we've got Son Goku Steadfast Assistance. It's a 3-drop with 1 specified yellow. It's a 5k blocker. This one's a counterplay, so the battle card being played is played in rest mode, and then play this card and draw 1. Similar to the Frieza, when activating this card's counter skill from your hand, reduce the energy cost of this card by 1 for each yellow extra card in your battle area and energy area and drop area. So battle area, energy area, and drop area. Really good. Again, we're going to be charging a lot of extra cards. We're going to be using a lot of them to get into the drop area to bring the cost of the Frieza and the Goku down. Speaking of an extra card, we've got Frieza's Army Reinforcements. It's a counter attack. If your leader is yellow, negate the attack, play a blocker, play a token and it gains blocker for the turn. And if our life's at 5 or less, we can activate the counter on this card by adding 1 card from our life to our hand instead of paying its energy cost. Poutine the Dark Sorcerer, an extremely good battle card for yellow. I'd be surprised if this card lives through the ban list, or the upcoming ban list for Ultimate Squad, just because it can be quite frustrating for our opponent to play around this card if they don't have barrier removal. It's a barrier 5k with unique. If your leader is yellow, when an opponent's card is switched to rest mode by one of your card's skill, you get to play it from your hand. And when your opponent plays a battle card using a skill, or activates a counter skill, you may choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch to rest mode. It's a once per turn effect, but you can do it on your turn or your opponent's turn. And with the amount of yellow battle cards and extra cards that we have right now that can switch things to rest mode, whether it's battle cards, Unison, Energy, Leader, or whatever it is, this card's so easy to get out at this point that I think it's probably time that it does get removed. But if it doesn't, then I'll continue running it in my yellow decks and continue annoying my opponents. Overwhelm for the deck, SS4 Bardock fighting against Fate. Overwhelm 6, dual attack, 25k. Pretty standard. as well as the 1 Champer, being able to pay 1 to get the 10k combo and give something double strike, sorry. Secret rare for the deck, I've gone with Super Mira Diabolical Fusion. We're going to be playing a lot of Unisons. We're going to be able to utilize the Empower on this Unison as well. But in combination with the Gohan, being able to give our leader the +5, give the Gohan +5 and triple attack. If we're able to carry over one of those markers, then we can utilize the -4 effect on this quite well. Now this Unison is a 25k ultimate dual attack blocker with Empower yellow 3 or black 3. So we're going to be able to carry over 3 markers if we play this over a yellow or black Unison, or up to 3 markers I should say. Activate main for 4 energy. If your leader's a black Android card, we don't have to worry about that. We can play this for 4 yellow energy since we're going to be charging yellow. We've got a +1 auto. When your opponent attacks, switch this card to active mode. So +1 on our opponent's turn. We can block twice essentially, or block once, or attack twice using the dual attack, and then +1 to restand it and block once. But the activate main -4 effect on this card is what makes it incredibly good. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier and KO. Then choose up to 2 of your opponent's cards and switch them to rest mode, and this card gets plus 15,000 power and double strike for the turn. So if we're able to utilize the -3 on the Gohan, give that +5 and triple attack 3 times with the Gohan. If we're able to keep that at 4 markers, let's just say, we go to -3, we're at 1 marker, we pay 4 for the Mira. This will carry over one of those markers, keeping us at 5, and then we can immediately -4 and then go a 40k dual attack double strike. Just an exceptional Unison that works really well with this deck. I did play around with the Super 17 Siblings Absorbed, I believe. I think that also is another slept on secret rare that people aren't utilizing but has really good effects within the current meta as well. But play around with the deck. As always, let me know in the comments if there's things that you think I've missed on or things that you think should be changed. But if you enjoyed the video, as always, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next deck idea.